Welcome back, y'all. Tyler Talks, where I talk. You can listen. You don't have to listen. You can do whatever you want. I'm just going to talk for a little bit. So I started doing the whole video. I posted two decks, this one and the same, pretty much the same deck with a different offense, posted them both on Discord. And I started doing the video with the white offense. And as I was talking, I was like, the other offense I wanted to do is the exchange heroes with pot of mana that I've been talking about with Joshua, Nehemiah, Jehu, and then you finish up with Zerubbabel usually, or Eliud. You don't need Nehemiah in that sense if you're doing Eliud, but either or, depending on the heroes you have out, and you have pot of mana out, so you get to hit something with Joshua. You get to have essentially a CBN protected Zerubbabel, pretty close to it. You get to hit their territory and their hand with Jehu, and then you have pot of mana active, so instead of doing this massive banding chain, you're getting all the exchange benefits with pot of mana active. So you're still good in that sense. You're still restricted to one hero at a time, and you're doing an exchange, so one comes out, one comes in, pot of mana still works, and you get more benefits, and they only get one. So I just really liked that aspect while I was doing the video, and I was like, well, why not just put the deck list for the white offense online and then do this video, especially because Jehu and Eliud work way better with the Fallen Star and Destructive Sin. So I was like 20 minutes into that video, stopped, and then did this one. But two concepts I wanted to talk about. One is playing for the long game. I don't think we do that anymore. And it's where you, instead of just trying to play for that win in 3 or 4 turns, what happens if your main attacks get blocked? Is your deck built for the first 30 minutes of the game and not 45 minutes of the game? If you do get blocked a couple times early on, what do you do? Or if you get blocked later on, what do you do? So a lot of people will build their decks with, here's my reasoning, here's my offense, here's what I'm trying to accomplish, and they're trying to get to that game state very quickly. And everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth, right? So long game, I think Jay's good at the long game. Any old school player, Justin, Jaden as well. I think Jeremy considers it as well because he comes from the Jay Chambers school of Redemption Hard Knocks. So all those players are really good, but they don't just play for the early victory. They can win up front, but a lot of times it's, and don't get it confused. I don't mean a grindy player like Brad. I mean a long-term game plan where you are actually thinking a turn or two ahead or trying to achieve a game state at the end. That doesn't mean you flip up the cross with a meek hero and their deck's empty. I mean your overall deck can achieve, whether they're usually through some type of attrition, whether you're playing like discard all heroes and protecting yours and you're just doing side battles or blocking and discarding their heroes and they simply can't attack, or you're playing like Judge's Seat recursion, stocks, which this could have it, Haggai, Esther, and Judge's Seat. You're doing stocks and Holy Grail. It's kind of like the old school Stonewall, where you can just pop their evil characters and kind of walk in with like Zacchaeus and hand looking. So you just kind of have strategies that you incorporate into your deck that you can just continuously attack and win over time. I've talked about it before with Hidden Treasures and Gabriel. And if you can just get an early Gabriel in Hidden Treasures and you can attack them twice, they're not really going to have much to block you with. So that's one concept, is when are you just trying to win early on? And if you are playing, if the answer is no, I'm trying to win mid game or long game, is your defense able to block to get you there? So that's the other aspect. And then what was my other point? I swear I had another point. Might have to come back to it. Oh yeah, it's the whole reason I started this whole video. Um, Different types of board control, punishment, um, benefiting from what the opponent's doing, or simply stopping what the opponent. And we've seen a lot more restrict be mirror, so just stopping what anyone can do and building around that. So what I mean is there's different types of cards that do what I'm talking about. So you can simply negate what the opponent's doing. So Akeem and Distressed are good good examples of this. Golden Calf is another one. Or Elizabeth, Chamber of Angels, anything like that. You'll see a lot of territory class cards like this, to where you're trying to negate what the opponent's doing, whether it's in their territory or not. Negate the characters in their territory, negate their neutral cards, whatever it may be. That's one aspect. And then the other is a restrict. You'll see Nazareth, the Cross, and then I'm playing Pot of Mana, to where players just cannot control more than one character in the field of battle. So they just can't do it. Everyone. You can restrict what the opponent does as well. And like I said, usually we're seeing more restrict since it's such a strong ability to be all players. But Herodias is a really good example of a very strong restrict that doesn't affect you. You can play Herodias in a deck and Pot of Mana, and now they can't touch their reserve, and you still get the benefits of Pot of Mana. Or if you make your deck not correctly, but in this sense, you're using Pot of Mana, but you're elaborating on it, so I can still get the benefits of more than one character in battle while restricting others. And then when it comes to Pot of Mana on the defense, I want to be able to add to battle. So I have Murderous Command, Gates of Hell, Orange Humans to go with Shield. So I'm trying to have Pot of Mana active and pretty much just throw big bodies at you. Whether it's protection through a human, or protection through a bunch of my demons and Gates of Hell, or Murderous Command to bring in foreign wives. And Jake already talked about maybe you should have a Amalekite Slave. I don't disagree. Just need to know what to put in. Maybe one of my characters can come out. I did have Doomed Canaanites in here. List was too tight. If I do want to, I could give them foreign wives and play Babel. That's something you can do as well. Increase their brigade count. Jake brought that up. So we are using Pot of Mana for both good and evil, or at least being able to play around it. And then the other aspect is either benefiting from what the opponent's doing, or punishing them. A benefit would be like Destructive Sin, to where if the opponent does something, you get to do it. Music Leader is another one. If the opponent does X, you get to do Y. Golden Cherubim, Old School Gifts of the Magi, New School David's Harp, like the Israel's Deliverance one. If your opponent draws, I draw. So this would be like a beneficiary card. And then you have your punishment type. Fallen Star. If they search, they get punished. So when I was bringing in everything, and I was looking at what's out there, punishment, benefiting me, negating, restricting, what really meshes well together. And this is the orange defense is what I thought was really good. And both the white offense I showed, because it's so easy to get Jesse Obed out, and David's a really good hero, and with Pot of Mana, Amilelek. I thought the white offense was really good to get Jesse Obed out, and boom, I got Jesse Obed. But at the same time, I already have Distressed, and I really care about negating their neutrals, and I wanted my offense to work well with my defense. So I went with this build instead, to where it's fairly consistent, a lot of searching abilities. I get to search, but you get punished if you do. I have Sorted Spirit and 3 Woes to hopefully help with hand protection. I'm not running Shipwreck. I have Woes, Sorted. Think that should be good. Um, Maybe Crowd's Choice comes out for Shipwreck because I have Wages of Sin, so I can just go to Shipwreck. But I like Crowd's Choice where I have a couple key targets in the reserve with not great reserve access. And I really want one of those exchange heroes, particularly Jehu with a weapon. So that's why Crowd's Choice came in. Um, like I said, I have the add to battle. 20 shekels with Jehu is just so good. Um, so I incorporated that because I want the bounce on mine. I went with 20 shekels over Book of the Law. As good as Book of the Law and Jeshua is, especially when I can play with like a bouncing evil character with Book of the Law and just get anything from my deck. As good as that is, I just didn't have the room. We're currently at 51 cards. I just didn't have the room to have 2 similar artifacts. And I think even though I get the bounce, I think getting the hand look and playing a character is just better than Book of the Law. I could be wrong there, but I have good reserve access, I felt, so we'll see. I actually am playing Feast of Trumpets. I think a lot of people in general, I talked about this in Scroots, but I think a lot of people in general just completely overlooking artifact control. And they're just kind of playing 3 Woes as their artifact negate, and they really should have another way to target an artifact, the opponent's artifact. So if used by a Meek hero, you may discard an artifact, or take an OT artifact from reserve. I have 2 targets, or I can discard theirs. So I actually have Joshua and Feast of Trumpets in here. We're seeing a lot of some pretty tough spots to get out from under with artifacts, so I am incorporating pretty heavy artifact control. And then if played in battle, you may banish any number of evil cards from a discard pile to bounce up to X characters. So I can just banish all your evil and bounce up to X characters. That's really good because it's characters. So I can bounce my own if I want. I can bounce all yours if you for like unity purposes, whatever it may be. So Feast of Trumpets isn't bad. It's a battle winner. It's not great, but Zerubbabel's Temple gets it, and I have that artifact support that I want to go with Joshua as well. I feel like Joshua's going to get picked off pretty quickly. I don't have Book of the Covenant in here because I'm already at 51 cards, and although it's nice to have Book, Covenant with Adam, You Will Remain, usually you will remain pretty quickly. So I found I just was going to have it for Covenant with Adam, which isn't bad. I just ultimately cut it, so maybe that comes back in. I'm not sure, but as of now, I like the overall control I have. I really like teaching in parables in the main deck. I like the star ability. Getting a negate in territory is big. Preserving a card from their hand is huge. Or in battle, it's also really good. And then, like I said, first turn, that's massive. And then, of course, I have Amazing Faith. And I have a couple ways to it. I do want an early pot of mana. I don't have a ton of artifacts that I care for. I would like to bring in New Covenant. And maybe I bring in a different gold gospel enhancement. I wanted Judge's Seat in here too. I wanted Stocks. Like I wanted Holy Grail. Like I really wanted that. All of a sudden you're at a 57 card deck, which isn't bad. I could play a 57 card deck and do like a Shipwreck or something and have just, I kill your territory and I block for days. That would be kind of the mindset. So we are trying to, like we have Murder to Command, we have Christian Martyr, Pot of Mana. We're trying to just beat you with protection. and get rid of some of your stuff like Beelzebub to pop one and just have the big band, and then just the big characters in general. Trying to pretty much make it to where you have to use your like interrupts and regardless of protect. Like there's just not a lot of regardless of protect, and I can negate them, and then I just add to battle. So the idea is you just simply run out of enhancements to get around my protection because I have 3 add to battles, and then I just kill a couple of your key heroes and just kind of limit what you can do. And then on good, I'm just constantly going to hit you with Jehu and Eliud or Nehemiah, Zerubbabel. I can hit you with Zacchaeus. I can choose a blocker, decrease. Covenant with Adam, Amazing Faith is good too. So it's not bad. And then having First Sacrifice, Teaching in Parables, Eliud, Jehu, with Fallen Star down and Destructive Sin. You can't draw. If you do, I get to draw. If you search, random card out of your hand. And I'm constantly just hitting your hand while I can hit your territory. And then I have just a lot of control. It's just a really well put together deck, how it all meshes. So I like Massive Worldliness. This isn't the fastest deck, but I have some characters that can draw. I have some searching, so I wanted to bring in an interrupt, and I do have blasphemies and destructive sin, like an interrupt, and withdraw all with destructive sin is really good. So we'll see. I won't go too much more into it, but it's pretty big defense. A little similar to Blood and Fire, I guess you can say. Similar to Josh P's posty build. So I took a little bit of aspects and then incorporated like more ways to evil characters because I'm really looking for this right here, and I'm really trying to get to those add to battles. Having 2 of them in the main deck is good, plus crowd's choice, so helps me in that regard, and then trying to get wages to go to Sheol as well. So we'll see how it plays out. But I'm still seeing a lot of GOC in tournaments. Nothing wrong with that. Like I said before, strongest set overall. So there's a reason it's being played. I just want to show that there's other decks out there that are good. I guess we completely forgot that Daniel Michael is a thing. Jaden did get 4th place last year. Justin essentially came out of retirement with another similar build and did very well as well. So just Daniel Michael didn't go anywhere. It's still a really good deck. But yeah, so we have Destructive Sin in opening hand, and we have Darkness, so we do have a Fallen Star. That's really nice. And from a star ability, we do get to look at their reserve if we want, but I wouldn't do that. But we do get to look at their hand and discard the top card. So that's nice. I have hand knowledge, and I get a card for free from their deck. I do have Angel of the Winds, Jeshua delivered, so we already have like Zerubbabel who can put down Akeem turn 1 with Pot of Mana active as well because I have Jeshua. So I already have a lot of good stuff going for me. Now for here, I would just go straight into playing of a Fallen Star. One of the few evil characters like a Priest of Zeus that you just want down. So if they use a search, they have to underdeck a random card from hand. That's really good. So even though you're showing them, hey, I have Fallen Star, you're not letting them search turn 1. Now, assuming I even get to go first, I would have the essential, hey, you can't draw, and if you search, I hit your hand turn 1. I have Joshua down, and I can go into a delivered, and I could either get 20 shekels because I know I'm going to get to Zerubbabel, or I can go to Pot of Mana. It's kind of whatever I want. I don't need Pot of Mana turn 1, but the fact that I could already put it out there is good. And then I can go into Angel of Winds. Do Zerubbabel. And then flip them. And I can draw 2. And then I'm going to play Akeem. So from here, it wasn't like a crazy good hand. It wasn't anything like, wow, that's awesome. But I'm negating your neutrals. You can't draw. If you search, I hit your hand, and you can't band. So, phenomenal start, and that didn't really come from much. If I needed to, I could play with 3 woes, just because all I have is a 12-8. So I could play 3 woes. They could block me. No clue. You're going to see chump blocks this year. I just think people are playing defenses right now when they forgot, like, you can just play Uza, throw Moss out there and die, Trembling Demon. Like, all that stuff still exists. So then I'm done here. I don't need to do anything else. I do have a Fallen Star turn 1 to block with, or a KOT. But remember, they're not, more than likely, they might search, but they're not going to draw. So I don't really know what kind of attack they would have either. That's a lot for them to get around. More than likely, I just kind of push a KOT if they were attacking with OT. I don't want to lose my Fallen Star. So even if I just had like a mutual, I would still throw KOT out there. So in no way is it a block or even a good block. But if they can't band, and I'm just throwing a 12-10 that's protected from dominance, there's at least, a little hope. So we have 2. We'll go ahead and immediately make a token. Sorry, my screen. And then looking at an evil card, we could take a lot here. We're going to take Jehu because we have Solomon's Dream and a Meek guy down. And we have all of our exchange heroes with pot of mana out. So we already kind of have everything. We don't have a block next turn, and we don't have a way to draw. So if we take Jehu, we're essentially giving up a block. Or we take Murderous Command and have pot of mana to where we get to throw KOT out there. But Foreign Wise isn't a great block in this deck. If Destructive Sin's out, they would have to get around it and then draw. So Foreign Wise isn't always great. I can get an interrupt and draw 3. Also not great. Or I can just get a protected character. Not a ton of options, but I can really start hitting their hand and get a lot going. And then we don't want to forget our woes. And I can go to, I could take a good card from deck. I could go to Crowd's Choice if I want. We're just going to go straight to Builder's Sword. And now we have the full exchange. Now remember, they exchange usually to territory, so we'd have to put them all down. And I like to bounce my KOT. I don't want him used against me. So I'd actually come out with Jehu, bounce KOT, exchange to Joshua, hopefully hit something in their territory, go to Nehemiah, and go to Zerubbabel. So now I have a pot of mana active. I did use a weapon, so I potentially, since I got the exchange, I could discard an evil royal human if there's one. Sometimes this will mess with you. If you exchange, you have to discard an evil royal. And if you're sitting there with Herods or Emperors, like, you're gonna get hurt. So Using orange is nice. I don't have that problem. And then increase your meek hero 3/3. I don't know talk about that, but we definitely want to 1, 2, 3. Increase him 3/3. And that's permanent. So every time I exchange, he just goes 3/3 higher. With pot of mana out, it's pretty nice. Got to bounce my KOT. Once per battle, Jehu uses an OT enhancement. Opponent must discard an evil card from hand or territory. So they have to discard there. Then I get all the benefits. So not bad. Now all I have is Angel. So if they block, I do have Angel, but I am protected. So it just depends on can they do anything to my 15-11 Zerubbabel, which is actually good. A protected 15-11 where they can't ban isn't bad at all. So, but once again, like I said, we don't have a block here, or at least a good one. We could hope that they can't do much. What I don't like is I don't have that means of drawing. So maybe that's an oversight where I thought I had enough. But we actually do need some more because we're just not able to recover. And the whole point of like the pot of mana and the holy decks is that they can still work through it and grab resources. Right now I just simply can't recover. So 4 cards in hand is not ideal. I'm trying to think maybe like there's a feast that lets me draw. So there's a couple other ways. But that's just something that we would have to tweak into. Assuming they attack here and probably get one. It's a bad habit. So you put down Hopper first. And then no stars. Hopper hits. And we got 2 tokens. Humble. Upkeep. Woes. We do get Z-Temp. At least we can start top decking and drawing. I don't think that's a Zerubbabel's Temple. I'd have to check. I don't think it is, though. But yeah, so for here, same exact thing. We're going to do the whole exchange again. Zerubbabel's going to get beefed up. And we get to top deck a good card. And we can just take it because of Jeshua. So yeah, really, I'm just going to want some drawing. That's really it. Get some drawing in here. Maybe Mayhem instead of Crowd's Choice. Accumulator, Choke Seed. Like, that's another one. So there's stuff we can do. There's not a ton of interaction. Like, maybe New Covenant comes in so I can get resources as well. But there's just not a lot I need to do here. If anything, it's just rinse and repeat on Zerubbabel. And if that's the case, like, do I want Windows of Narrow Light or something? I don't know. Because Windows plus pot is really good. So I'm not sure. I'm not loving the lack of drawing. Theoretically, they can't either. But if they negate Destructive Sin, they can draw. And there's nothing I can do. So, nothing I love there. From here, I can go sorted, place, go into like a restless, and then restless into shuffle Lost Souls in my territory and just kind of get out from something. Oh, why am I drawing 6? I almost was right. So at least we can shuffle around some stuff now. So let's see. I can discard a card to draw 2. I can exchange. What do I want to exchange? If I exchange wages, then I'm playing for a sacrifice. Or I can get out Sheol, but I don't have any of my humans yet for Sheol. So I think I'll exchange wages. No, honestly, I'm just going to go into a simple interrupt draw 3. Each upkeep. So I have 3 woes, and I have Z temp, and I can take a feast. So yeah, maybe Feast of Booth is better because I have Joshua. Their artifacts don't really bother me. And I can just play Feast to get the draw 3. I could immediately hit their hand, play Storehouse. And since we already looked at their hand, we can keep Pot of Mana up if we want. Or do we know, hey, 20 shekels is better here. Play a character from their hand and keep hitting them with Jehu. All depends. So that's really how it plays. We actually have some blocks here now, so at least I can draw, like I can interrupt, draw, and go into a Blasphemies. And I have the add to battle as well. So I feel a lot better. That was just a pretty flimsy defense up front. Luckily, I have Pot of Mana with Fallen Star and KOT. So they do have to have more than one hero, or they have to be able to get around KOT without being able to draw and search. So it's not horrible. Just I didn't really have anything. So we need to incorporate some speed. I'm going to flip it one more time and just see. So from here, we get the hand look. We love the hand look. We could give them a token real quick. We could go straight into a Meek Eliod and drop Solomon's Dream. And that gives us Zerubbabel and Akeem, turn 1. It's not bad. Or we could just go Eliod, Solomon's Dream, and just go to Amazing Faith. Also not bad. So a couple things, and it also depends if we get to go first or not. If we don't get to go first, we're actually excited because you're going to want to go Deceiver. That's why we have 2 evil characters, or 3 evil characters that draw. He just counts as a draw 1 though, so we really have 2 characters that draw. And then we get the draw. Maybe it's a draw 3. And then more than likely we're giving up initiative here on turn 1. I don't know. Like a Matthew, David, very popular attacks. Moses, 410. I'm just kind of benefiting myself though, to be honest. And then do we care if we lose Wages of Sin? Because we can take Destructive Sin. And then we could underdeck this card. Or add Destructive Sin to battle. Or discard a hero in battle. So either way we would lose Wages. Unless we gave up, unless we didn't do the discard, but it all depends on the battle. More than likely I would interrupt, take Destructive Sin, keep Destructive Sin in my hand, and discard a hero in battle. No clue if that would work or not. They would have to have another negate. So from here, we actually got some options now. We could put down Z-temp. We could put down storehouse. We do have Jeshua and Akeem. We could play Eliad with Solomon's Dream, but really we care about Destructive Sin. That's what we want down. I don't think we need Jeshua down. I don't think we're going to band. We do want Fallen Star down. I'm just trying to think if we want to go to like Zerubbabel. With Nehemiah and have the protection. Not sure. I don't know if we need the protection right now. I did play my territory class. So I think we go Angel, Zerubbabel, Flipsies. We get to draw 2, and I don't think we need to play Posty from deck. I think we just band here to Eliad. Hit their hand. The correct move. The correct move was to put Eliad down, band to Nehemiah in exchange. That was the correct play. And you need to notice those things before you attack. Like, hey, what's the best thing? Do it real quick. Because I gave myself retroactive protection and still got Eliad. So it's the best of both worlds on the attacks. That's just me getting used to the deck. Know your attacks, know what it does, know how to integrate all parts. So yeah, from here, now you would have Zerubbabel, Eliad with the protected Zerubbabel, and I have to discard an evil card from hand or territory. And I have the big negate with the take. Probably would go into woes here. I feel like that's good enough to get through. And just like that, we pretty much have everything down that we want. We like having Humble. We have Destructive Sin. We have Fallen Star. We have Akeem. I thought about bringing Death in here. I just didn't have enough room. But reducing their hand size by 1, not bad at all. So, and you maintain orange. So I thought about bringing Death in here. That'd be interesting. But yeah, either way, we have Akeem out, Fallen Star, Destructive Sin. I'm happy with where it's at. And now we have our big recovery. Messenger of Satan to Divining Damsel. And now we could actually draw a good bit. Good brigades in battle. More than likely that's 1. And then we get the hand look, and that's probably 2. We can exchange here. Don't really need Deceiver. And we do want to negate. So we'll Galileans that. Hopper goes over. And then we had 1, 2, 3 OTs. 1, 2, 3. So then from here, we at least get some card advantage. Have all of our stuff out. Maybe Blasphemies works because we still get to go to Blindness. So if they play anything else, we get to play Blindness as well. I like keeping Blindness and dropping Woes if I need to. But sometimes it's the same thing. Having Woes in your hand is better because I could play it on offense if need to. But either way, just trying to think if I like keeping the extra negate in my hand as well. But the right play should be keeping woes. But big numbers, I mean, having the 06 on top of the 10 is good with the 4-2. Um, it's tough to see this deck play out because it quickly negates their stuff and it quickly makes it to where they can't draw. You pop Fallen Star down, they can't search, or they're hitting their hand. So it's, when I'm going through it, I get it. It's sometimes it's a little bit, it's tough to see the value. But when you're playing, just imagine how much you draw. Now imagine you can't draw. Imagine how much you search. Every time you search, I hit you. All your neutrals don't work turn one. Like that's a lot for the opponent to keep up with. So from here we draw 3. No need for stars. We do have 2 upkeeps. We could take a feast, and we could just take whatever we want, essentially. We did get into Jehu, so I like grabbing his sword. So now we kind of have Jehu's sword. We have the big exchanges out, and if we don't have pot of mana, that's fine, because we have a band as well. Like if I want to ban, I can. I don't need David's Descendant. I don't feel like I have to take a card with Solomon's Dream. So I'm just trying to think. I think the best case here, Teaching in Parables, reserve an evil card from their hand. And then I would have to do the correct attack. And I can go Joshua to Jehu, and I could go to Nehemiah, to Zerubbabel, or to Elliot. I can do that. Or I could go Joshua, Jehu, Zacchaeus. It just kind of depends on what I saw with Teaching in Parables. You would think you win that rescue, because if they had like whatever their best card was that's evil, it's gone. And even if they had like Falling Away and Christian Martyr, then I could go Nehemiah, Jeshua to one of these two. So once again, it all comes down to what did I see in their hand with Teaching in Parables. More than likely that's my attack, and I'm just continuing, just hitting everything in their territory. Like that's just a lot to recover from, or just sustainability. If I'm just constantly doing that to you, you're not really doing much. Like how can you? Maybe a Herod's Temple, but I would have 3 woes that, and I have Sordid Spirit, so that's about it. Because other than that, if you have Evil Protection, I'm getting around it. Color Guard, Lawful, that would be a good one. But guess what? Akeem's been out turn 1. It's just, there's not a lot you can do. Like I should be able to hit your hand and your territory at the same time. 9 cards in hand. Like I said, I don't need David's Descendant. I have both forts out. Sure, it's a mediocre battle winner, but I have others. From here, we just big body banding and 3 woes. We don't have our add to battle, which I don't love, but it all comes down to we just had the hand look. So more than likely we wouldn't be able to get through anything here. If needed, probably still do Messenger of Satan assuming it's a draw 1 to like get a draw 2. I was hoping for like Murderous Command, or Crowd's Choice, or Christian Martyr, but I don't know if we would even play all this. So, but that's essentially it. I can get, like I said, probably some more speed needs to come in overall, but when it comes to just what the deck does, I definitely have hand control, territory control, what you can and can't do. I have a lot of just strong attacks, and I work through pot of mana and with pot of mana. So, Holy of Holies doesn't really hurt me too bad. I have just a ton of CBP protection on offense, but you have to protect your artifacts because I'm going to take them. So most of your stuff isn't going to work. You can't draw. You're going to get punished for searching. I'm going to hit your hand. You're not going to be able to protect your hand. Your neutrals are negated. And then I'm just attacking you nonstop. So I do like it. Like I said, it's just tough to simulate that deck or stimulate it. Simulate it. Just because getting the value, like seeing where that comes from, and when you're on the other side of this, your stuff just isn't working, and you have, it's easy enough, like, oh, I can just negate evil in your territory. You have to do that without getting resources, or you have to search through Fallen Star. So maybe some green comes in and I bring in Jonah, and it's like Jonah and Fallen Star. I don't know, maybe that's too much, but that's not a horrible idea. I really like Doomed Canaanites with KOT. Like, I love that idea as well, where I can just throw Doomed Canaanites, but more than likely, if I have Sordid Spirit, you just discard Sordid Spirit, and you get a whole free turn. So, and I hit your territory so much that Doomed Canaanites just didn't make sense. I would love, like I said, maybe 57 cards with stocks and Judges C, and it's just, there's not really much you can do. So I'm not sure. I really think step 1 is just adding a little bit more speed here. Not much, just a little bit of speed. But other than that, I really like how this plays out. It's a fun deck, a lot of control, puts the opponent constantly on edge. So I just want to reiterate, you don't have to always play for the short game. Have a long game in place, and then look at incorporating, how can I negate my opponent's stuff? How can I restrict my opponent? And if I'm restricting myself, can I play through it? And how do I just punish or benefit from my opponent's doing? And if you can start looking at those cards and saying, okay, like Herdsman, that's a beneficiary card. So they're not all territory class, but how can you punish your opponent for what they're doing? So look at it from that angle. So hopefully there was some good tidbits in this video. And like I said, I got the deck list on Discord. If you want the actual list, just comment or DM me. And I hope you all enjoyed. Thanks, y'all.